it's WPC board set. This is out of a, this is out of a Terminator 2. And so we've got the driver board, the MPU soundboard, and the DMD controller. So starting out with the driver board here, we had some hackery going on. Over here in the GI section, somebody had ran wires from the traces to, somebody had ran wire traces to, or wires from the traces to the header pins here, and so I've went ahead and ran those underneath the header pins, added eyelets in place of the missing through holes, and went ahead and buttoned all that up. Got a new GI header output here for both of those. New AC headers in, 12 volts in, and then also the voltage out. Over here we had two capacitors that had been replaced at some point, and about 90% of the time that these are replaced, the through holes come with them, and it just so happened to be both of those capacitors had actually came out with the through holes from whenever they were originally replaced there. So that's been, I've got 4 eyelets in place over there to repair all 4 of those through holes for those capacitors. We've got a new 100 UF here at C4, and then also another 100 UF radial here at C2. And we did have some fixes here. I left that alone, but down here in this section, it looks like one of the transistors had burnt up at some point, and so I had to do some trace repair, just cleaning up what was done prior, as well as on the back of the board. The MPU, we had quite a bit of alkaline corrosion, which I probably should have just left well and where. Probably should have just left it alone. I can't talk today, or ever, I guess. But anyways, everything that was in that pathway has been pulled from the board and replaced. And then also the alkaline has been abated and conformal coated over top of. So we've got all new 0.100 headers here, some resistors, and then some capacitors. We've got a new 0.156 input header here, as well as 1, 2, 3 LM339s, and then also the, what is this, ULN 2803 new power input filter capacitor. We've got a 4.27 volt watchdog here on the board, and with also we do have NVRAM installed, but also the ROM that was installed here was a L8 version, and so I was going through running the display test, and I was not getting the RAM test okay message there. And so what I ended up doing is I swapped out the MPU just to rule out that, it's not a DMD controller board issue. And long story short, what I ended up doing is just burning an L6 ROM, just because even with the fresh thing of code there on the EEPROM, I could not get L8 to ever spawn that message onto the board or onto the display there, which was crazy. But every time on L6 it does work. Adam's Family EEPROM works. It's just something about Terminator 2 L8. I'm not sure if they just missed that in the code or what. But anyways, moving on to the soundboard, we've got 2 new snap caps here installed, which are, I believe, 4700 UF. And then we've got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 47 UF capacitors. I had to use a couple of radials there because I ran out of the axial packages, and also replaced the 100 UF capacitor here on the board as well. And the DMD controller board, we went ahead and rebuilt the high voltage section and replaced both of the filter capacitors there. And let's go ahead and get this thing booted up. My God. it was a lot. This board set had a lot going on, and I am totally glad to be done with this now. But as you can see, the only errors that we get is time and date not set, and then obviously the gun can't find home because we're not inside of a pinball machine. But let's go into test here. And first test, so we're gonna go through and test both rows and columns, moving through diagonally. And we'll pick up the, sorry, I'm going wrong direction there. Shoot, where am I wanting to go? Sorry, give me just a second. I am no, we're wanting to go column. Sorry. There we go. I've got it figured out now. There's the last switch there. And so test the other coin door switches. And those are all working properly. And let's move into solenoid test. Oops. And that would be the gun motor, as to why that one stays on for a little bit longer than the others. And let's see, skip flasher test that with the lamps. Let's do the GI test. Just make sure that the zero cross circuit is dimming all of the lamps the way it's supposed to. And the last two together there. And there we are. And sound and music test. Sorry to my neighbors.
Get the CPU auto fire video mode.
Alright. And let's lamps and flashers. And display test. So I'll show you what I'm talking about here as far as the RAM test okay, which at the end the CPU runs a test there on the DMD controller to test the 6264 RAM that is populated there, and everything is good to go. And we're not going to do a gun test or anything because we're not inside of a game and we don't have one connected. But other than that, everything is good to go. Thank you so much.